This video is extremely important. Keep in mind, there's hackers changing my voice because they know that I'm right and I say what no one else is saying. So when it comes to the Biden versus Trump debate, I'd like to point out two things. Okay. One, $2 trillion in tax cuts, for the rich. And Trump approved $8.4 trillion in new debt as a conservative. Number two, when it comes to the border, Republicans shamelessly argue that Democrats failed, but they wouldn't come to an agreement on how to handle the situation. They rejected the bipartisan solutions. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's when two parties come together and they agree on a solution and they decide to make the immigration process more logical. They decide to increase border security, what have you. They refused to come to the table and solve the problem. Bottom line, so you can, in good faith, give Donald Trump, points for immigration, if you will, because the Republicans purposely made the crisis worse so they could blame the Democrats. It is impossible to miss that. The $2 trillion in tax cuts are key here. Now keep in mind, I'm not endorsing either candidate. I think the whole system has failed. I don't trust the voting system. I don't trust anybody. The things that are going on in the cities and the towns, I don't want to make this about that because I want to increase the chance that this video is heard, but they're atrocious. There's more going on in America than people are talking about publicly. It is atrocious. When we look at the homeless crisis, both parties failed. Neither party is recommending affordable wealth taxes and cost-effective spending. For a mere $23 to $25 billion, we could build 700,000 tiny homes in rural areas with land purchases included, with running water and AC. Neither party has presented this plan. Sometimes on the left, they present a dramatic plan that's too expensive after they have a history of not being effective with spending, not having cost-effective spending. And they know that the right and the general public are going to reject the plan because it's too damn expensive. You can't just say, give us all their money and, just trust us with how we spend it. And that's the straw man for the logical argument for logical cost-effective spending. I'm going to make a part 2 of this where I tell you my plans and how they're very affordable, and they'd end world hunger, they'd end child hunger, they'd end homelessness in America. Okay. They'd reinforce the food infrastructure for very affordable taxes and vice taxes to build rehabs. Sound plan. You'd have to be insane to reject the plan. So let's look at this thing here. Why are there 700,000 homeless people in America? What are the social factors? Republicans are quick to say things like, just get a job. There's plenty of homeless people that have a job. They don't bring that up. A lot of them say boo-hoo when they're born in rich families or they're born in lower middle class families where they have a strong network, where their father and their neighbors and their friends helped them get a job. They don't go through the same thing that the urban minority goes through or the urban poor white person goes through. And then they say, just get a job. They don't understand the factors that lead up to theft and drug addiction. So after society gets together and they pressure people and they rape them and there's child abuse and there's spousal abuse and so on and so forth, all these abuses are leveled on them. If they don't respond in a way that's better than the ideal person and masterfully transcend and shake it off, and they make an honest mistake and start doing drugs while they're really down their luck or develop a heavy alcohol habit and they go homeless, the Republican says, tough luck. And they scramble to give $2 trillion in tax cuts to the rich. And if Trump is elected, they're going to extend that and do another $2 trillion. After he increased the debt He approved 8.4 trillion in new debt, while Biden only approved 4.3 trillion. Republicans resisted his student loan forgiveness plan, over $20,000 per student or whatever. They resisted it. They said, no, we're not going to let him go to 4.8. But Trump was allowed to go to 8.4 trillion. Trump says that, hey, more people died under Biden's administration. Yeah, because the pandemic came toward the end of your presidency. And then it continued, and it continues to this day under Biden. When it really started hitting was 2020. Okay? That's when it really started hitting. Biden's presidency is about to be up. So most of those years were under Joe Biden. His argument's insane. Republicans are crazy. It's the truth of the matter. It's the fact of the matter. They are insane. Only a lunatic party would give $2 trillion in tax cuts to the rich. Where's the jobs to show for it? With just $500 billion of that, I could have created far more jobs than Trump created. Okay? With the $2 trillion in tax cuts. They might have created, a few jobs here and there. I would have created far more. Just $500 billion. 1/4 of that. It doesn't add up. Like the left says, we the people means all the people. Not the rich exploiting the people. That's sick. So though I'm not endorsing either candidate, I can tell you for sure it is crazy to vote for Trump. Despite what most people think, I don't care so much he's a convicted felon. A lot of people do. I don't care so much. I do believe the system is rigged. Okay. I do believe it makes him look bad, but that's not my issue here. If he presented my war on poverty plan, if he did everything right, I'd say vote for him anyway, right? But that's not what he's doing. Those $2 trillion in tax cuts, they're called tax cuts for a reason. Because they cut out the heart of America. Because they cut down the poor with that. Because 5 people, homeless people, die every day in the LA area. He cut them down with that legislation. There's no excuse for that. Children are hungry. People are on the streets dying. When winter time comes, people will be suffering from hypothermia when they could have ended homelessness a long time ago in a very cost-effective manner, and it wouldn't have caused any significant inflation. But giving $2 trillion in tax cuts to the rich did cause inflation. And that's the inflation that Joe Biden's presidency, administration inherited from Donald Trump. Just like Reaganomics failed, trickle-down economics does not work. And people are suffering. People are dying. People are being raped and killed. Because they won't hire more police officers and have more citizen oversight committees. Because they reject a massive tiny home program which creates jobs and tax revenue. Because they reject a massive food program which creates jobs and tax revenue. People are dying. And if population control is such a big deal, just offer tax incentives for women to get their tubes tied. Just give them free salpimectomies, pay them in cash or whatever, give them some kind of gift cards or give them some kind of incentives. But you'd rather kill people and stick your nose up at them and scream white supremacy in your own way. By your actions. By your actions. I'm tired of women being raped because you people play stupid and give tax cuts to the rich. I'm tired of children being raped while everyone plays stupid. I'm tired of homelessness not being addressed. I'm tired of you playing stupid about the underlying causes of homelessness. People go homeless because you give tax cuts to the rich, and it has a domino effect. Again, it has a domino effect. That money could have been put to good use. People are getting assaulted and robbed and killed. And anyone with any sense knows it's the governing class's fault, with an emphasis on people who lean right. Anybody can be made into a monster. I'll close by saying this. The person who wrote the book Frankenstein has one of the most famous quotes out there when it comes to literature. They said that, quote unquote, I've created a monster. So if there's monsters in these streets, are they self-created or are they made in America? Who created the monster? The governing class and those who play stupid about the cultural insufficiencies we see here in America created the monsters. And they are the biggest monsters of all. And we can rehabilitate the criminals. No problem. If you stop having lunatic processes and legislation. Your lunacy is destroying what's left of America. It's not making America great again.